Welcome to this weekly general update for the 23rd of July. So we've had another pretty interesting week and some resolution of the situation in Europe. Excuse me, with the debt resolution in Greece, and we've also perhaps got a little bit of progress happening in the US as well. But anyway, markets took it fairly positively, and the S&P did rebound very strongly during the week. So just a reminder, this is general information only, as always. So just a bit of a summary of the week. The S&P closed up 2.2% for the week, which certainly reversed last week's losses. It bounced pretty hard, as I indicated, through the daily alerts during the week, precisely off the 61.8% level, and that was largely over what was happening in Europe. But when you really look at it from a fundamental point of view, they haven't really achieved a great deal. They've just really stalled the ultimate day of reckoning, whenever that will be. It's a whole lot of rubbish in my view what they're doing, but it is reality, and markets are reacting positively to it. So that's the main thing. On the S&P, there is resistance coming up at 1370, which is about another 25 points away. So we just need to keep an eye on that. On the ASX 200, we closed up, actually did a little bit better than the S&P during the week, closed up nearly 3%. So that's the first time in quite a while that we've actually outperformed. And I think that was largely the fact that our banks rebounded pretty strongly in the last couple of days. Gold was 0.6% higher on the week. It's overbought in the short term, but there was a little downside in the last week. It essentially just sat there and paused for that period. It's now into $1,600 plus territory, so I think the possibility of it moving on to 1650 or even higher levels is definitely there. Silver did better than gold last week. It was up 2% on the week, and the strategy there is still basically to buy the dips. We've got some resistance at $41 and then 43 and 50. So still looking to trade both gold and silver to the upside. And copper was steady again for the week. Excuse me. Okay, so just the general strategy. I continue to be pretty positive on the market. Gold and silver obviously looking very strong, and the gold and silver stocks doing well. Small caps really gaining some momentum, and I've seen that particularly through doing scans and looking across a broad cross-section of different stocks. There's a lot of momentum coming back into that small cap sector now. The large cap stocks are still being held back by overseas hedge fund selling, and that's because of the ridiculous ALP Greens alliance government that we've got, which is just lurching from one crisis to another, and their policies are really destroying what should be a pretty good period in Australia economically. The overseas hedge funds really understand that this process of transferring wealth from exporters to households, which is really what the ALP and the Greens are doing, is not a clever strategy for international competitiveness, and that's why our large cap stocks are being held back as they are. But anyway, there are plenty of opportunities in the small cap area, so we'll be pursuing those. So let's have a look at the charts. First of all, this is the S&P 500. You can see we had a good run up here from the end of June to early July. We pulled back to precisely the 61.8% level, and then we've kicked on very nicely from there. So that's looking very positive. The Aussie market, that's the Aussie on a monthly basis. So you can see still really hasn't done anything since it's at a similar level to what it was at in October of 2009 at an index level. So that just gives you an idea of how much our market has underperformed. Looking at it on a daily chart, you can see we had two very strong days last week on Wednesday and Friday. So the market broke out of this channel, it retraced to it, tested it a number of times, and now appears to have bounced off it. But remains to be seen how much further it's got to go. That was the finance index that was particularly strong and took the main index with it during the week. This is the materials, so clearly we're back into uptrend if we break above this this level through here. So I mean, it looks pretty promising at the moment, but the ultimate confirmation will be a close above this this level here, which is about 13,800. Will confirm that we're back into uptrend. And the small ordinaries index, you can see, has formed a higher low and a higher high, so it's definitely back into uptrend and looking very strong. Next is gold. You can see we've been hanging up here. We're overbought in the short term, but we haven't really had a retracement yet. All it's done is gone sideways for the last 5 or 6 trading periods. So if gold kicks on from here, then I'll be looking for much higher targets, because the fact that the market is unable to retrace any of these gains is a very positive sign. So depending on how gold comes out of this little pause zone, will tell us a lot about the short to medium term. And finally, silver, fairly similar. It's gone up fairly nicely. It has really just tracked sideways for the last 5 trading sessions without pulling back. So the sentiment there is very similar. So that's all for this week. We'll see how things unfold, but it's all going pretty well. As I've written in the alerts, we've got virtually every trade is in the positive, and so things are looking pretty good. So that's it for this week. Talk to you next weekend. Cheers.